Hello and welcome into this week's Wildcat Weekly Coaches Report. This is Grant Feynman along with the head women's tennis coach, Lisa Macy-Baker. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Absolutely, we're excited to be here.
So the Cats coming in from a season ago, 17-3 on the year, 8-0 in conference play, perfect record. How do you improve after such a strong season last year?
Well, we use the experience. You can't train experience, and so we're going to build off of that. We're going to continue what we've done well in the past. Don't break what's not broken, but build off of it and continue to work hard on and off the court. This is a stellar group, not just on the court, but off the court. So we just keep doing what we do.
Yeah, you have a bunch of really not only talented girls, but very smart girls as well.
Yeah.
And then kind of looking at the team the last couple of years, you guys have only lost one conference match in the last 3 seasons, a defeat to Whitman. And as we've kind of talked about, Whitman should be a very talented group again this season. That should be a tough one for you guys. But how do you explain this run that you guys are on, and how do you continue to improve?
Right. And I didn't know that statistic prior to, because I just didn't think about it, which is a cool stat. I might use that. But I think how we explain it is work ethic and having a better or having a more cohesive team and really pushing that culture. And this group, and over the last few years, they've really embraced that. They understand that it's not just about the individual victory; it's about the team victory. We've had years where we weren't necessarily the most talented team on paper, but we've overcome with the intangibles, and we've been the better team. And I think this group has embraced that, and they continue to work that way. So.
Awesome. And so now kind of looking at this season, team is coming off a very impressive opening tournament run there in the Willamette Valley FourWay. What did you kind of gather from that tournament, and what can you kind of improve on here going throughout the season?
Yeah, that tournament, it's a warm-up tournament. We typically host that tournament. It just gives us a lot of matches, and it gives us a lot of matches right away, and gives us something to work with. We did that a couple weeks ago, so we did it fairly early in the fall so that we would have a little bit more to work off of, especially for our younger players over the last few weeks. And for us, it's like, it gave us matches, it gave us a lot to work with in practice and to better prepare us for ITA, which is this weekend.
So now rolling into that ITA, you talked about how that's coming this weekend. It'll start Friday the 27th of September. What are your expectations for that event here up in Walla Walla this weekend?
I expect that we are the grittiest, hardest working team who battles until the bitter end, regardless of the outcome. That's the expectation. And if we can do that, we should have some success.
Cool. So the Cats will travel up there, and then kind of the last thing, so new coach on the staff, former All-American, amongst many other things for Linfield, Ella Riddle comes back into the fold. How excited are you to have her back here working with the team, and what can she bring to this group?
Oh man, Ella brings a ton. She brings recent experience, and I think that's, I'm old in their book these days, and so I think that Elle brings recent experience. She brings recent high-level experience. She's a 3-time All-American. Probably our most decorated tennis player at Linfield, or one of the most. And Elle's one of the most competitive players I've ever coached in any sport. And I think that she brings that drive and that understanding. And she spent the last year doing her master's in strength and conditioning with a focus on female athletics. And so, she brings a very high recent knowledge of strength and conditioning, which is key. And so she's bringing that to the table. She's a natural out there. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I got to be really happy to have her
Absolutely.
back in there. And then kind of lastly, just to wrap things up there's so many talented players on this team. Can you just kind of go into each individual player, what you really like? Obviously, you don't have to go down the whole thing, but
Sure.
just people that you're really excited about this season and kind of the expectations that you have for them.
Sure. I'm excited about this entire group. I think that we're building off a successful run. A lot of these players, especially, they only know winning conference. And so when you have that understanding and that expectation, that's where it starts. And they know what it takes to get there. And they've had ups and downs in that process. They've been challenged, so they know what challenge is like. And so they're able to feed that to our younger players. But, notably, obviously, we have the Conference Player of the Year returning in Michelle Luetta. She's now an upperclassman. And obviously, she's a player to beat. And Michelle she's unique, I tell people that Michelle doesn't necessarily practice more than everybody. She just practices better. And she brings that to the court every day. If you're going to be a hitting partner with Michelle, you're going to hit more balls than anybody that day. And so, she makes everybody better. And we appreciate that. And she's just she's a stellar teammate. Yeah. And then other players of note, right now, with the exception of one player who's on medical leave and who will be back in the spring, we have a healthy team. Last year, one of our top players was out most of the year, and so we have Tessa back, Tessa Kern, and she's playing well, and she's healthy. She really worked hard on her rehab this summer, put a lot of time on the court this summer, so she's looking good. We've got now Riley Clayu as an upperclassman. She's bringing great leadership and experience. And then, we've got a crop of younger players who are experienced and talented. So we're excited, but it's not going to be easy.
And we all are excited for this season as well. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. The ITAs will open here on Friday, but for the Wildcat Weekly Coaches Report, this is Grant Byman signing off here for this week. Thank you very much.